What's up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you have never been here before, I am Diana. I'm the creator of Money Boss Mama, where I teach women just like you how to become a money boss from the inside out. In this video, we are going to be discussing all things sinking funds. So how to set them up, what they are, and the sinking funds that you should have set up for the year 2021. So if you are interested in learning what the heck sinking funds are and how to go about setting them up, then just keep watching. So first things first, what is a sinking fund? And to make it really easy, breaking it down in the most simple definition, it is basically a savings account, but it's for a specific purchase and or expense. So instead of you just setting aside money just to set aside money, or you are setting aside money for the unknown, you know exactly why you are saving money, and you often are going to know how much you are going to set aside and when you are going to actually withdraw the funds. Sinking funds are often for short-term goals, even though they can be long-term. And an example is, let's say that you want to purchase a makeup vanity, and the makeup vanity is $600. So you will set up a sinking fund specifically for that makeup vanity. And let's say that, okay, it's $600 and you want to purchase this makeup vanity in 6 months. This means that you have set a goal of $600 for that sinking fund, and you will need to contribute at least $100 per month in order to reach your target amount and goal. Then once you've gotten to your $600, you are going to withdraw the funds, and then you make your purchase. So you go out and you purchase your makeup vanity. That is how a sinking fund works. So basically you get to treat yourself without the guilt. So if you are someone that often purchases something out of impulse and you get that buyer's remorse, this is a great way to get rid of that, because you can purchase things without that guilt because you saved up for it in advance. So you saved up specifically to make this purchase, so you don't have to deal with that guilt because you could afford it and you went about it the correct way. And now when it comes to where you will actually house your funds for your sinking funds, you can go about it multiple ways. It just depends on whatever you feel most comfortable with. Some people set their sinking funds up using checking accounts. You can use savings accounts. You can use an old pickle jar. A lot of people like to use cash envelopes. So if you are a visual person and it just motivates you and lights you up to see your cash growing actually visually, then maybe consider using a cash envelope or an old pickle jar, or whatever it is that you are going to use to store your actual physical dollar bills. Now with me, whenever I set up my sinking funds, I use a money saving app called Digit, and I will link that down in the description box below. It does have a subscription that's like $5, so they went up, but you can set yours up using a free checking account, just a free basic checking account. And I often advise those to use checking accounts because if they have a short-term goal, you don't want to hit those limits when it comes to a savings account. With a savings account, it is frowned upon to withdraw the funds out, especially in its entirety. So if you have a short-term goal, then consider using a free basic checking account in order to set yours up. But like I was saying, you can use a cash envelope so you don't even have to deal with accounts, and you can have multiple ones. Or if it's a longer term goal, such as you saving for a down payment on a home, then you can consider using a savings account or a high yield savings account. And I do have my Ally savings account. It's a high yield savings account set up, and they allow you to break it up with what's called buckets. So consider looking into Ally if you want to use a savings account and also get paid interest on your contributions, because with Ally, I do know that they allow you to break up your amount into separate buckets, which are basically like little sinking funds, because you can distribute the money out and visually see how much you have for certain type of expenses or purchases that you are looking to make. Okay, so now you are probably like, okay sis, I have some sinking funds that I want to set up. How do I make this work with my budget? And it is actually pretty simple, especially if you already have a working budget in place, because you are just going to set a line in your budget for that specific purchase or expense. So let's say, going back to the makeup vanity example, you will then put the $100 contribution that you are going to be making to that makeup vanity sinking fund each month in your budget. If you budget monthly, it will be $100. If you budget bi-weekly, it would be $50. However it is that you have your budget set up. So you will have that specific line in there, and then however you choose to house your funds and the frequency of your budget, you will then put the contribution amount in wherever your sinking fund is going to be housed. And let's say at this point you are like, okay, I want to set up multiple sinking funds now. Then you will just do the same exact thing. You will set up multiple lines in your budget, one for each specific sinking fund, and then you will set up how much you actually need to contribute to each sinking fund based on how you have your budget set up. So let's say that you have one line for your makeup vanity, you have one for a purse you've been eyeballing, and then one for a future vacation. You will set up how much you need for the makeup vanity, the vacation, and the purse that you've been eyeballing, and then you will make your contributions to however you have decided to house your sinking funds. Now it's time for some sinking funds that you should consider setting up this year. And I do want to say, like, if you often forget an expense, maybe it's only due like one time a year, or you come to realize that you are forgetting certain things each year that is often a need, then consider setting up a sinking fund for those expenses, just so you are not knocking your budget completely out of whack. But the first sinking fund that you should consider setting up is one for clothes. So we all need clothes, obviously. And I know with me, oftentimes when it becomes a new season, I will often find that I am losing clothes for some reason, and I'm needing to purchase more, and I do not have room for them in my budget. So I will often try to set aside a sinking fund for the new season, and this is especially very beneficial if you have children who are growing like weeds. Second sinking fund that you should consider setting up is one for car maintenance and repairs. And if it is one thing that's going to happen, especially when you've been driving your car for a while, parts are going to need to be replaced. You need your oil changes, things like that. So be proactive now and start setting aside a sinking fund for car maintenance and repairs. And with car maintenance and repairs, you don't have to have a specific amount, but just make sure that you are setting aside something regularly. So should your car need a new part, a new battery, anything like that, you already have funds set aside to cover those costs. Third sinking fund is for activities. So I don't know about you, but going outside in the warmer months is expensive. So if you know that you are at home a lot more when it's cold outside, and then when it starts getting warmed outside, then you start going outside a lot more, then consider setting aside funds for activities. I like to do this, so I know in the summertime I want my kids to get out and get some fresh air and to stop getting on my nerves. So we often go out a lot more. So I will set aside funds for increased activities, but you can also set aside funds for extracurricular activities. So if you notice that your kids are interested in a particular sport, or if you just want to go out and maybe take some yoga classes or anything like that, then you could set aside a sinking fund to take care of those costs. The fourth sinking fund you should consider setting up is one for school. I don't know if it's just my child's school, but it's like they are always needing something. So you can set aside a sinking fund for like the bookstores. You can set aside a sinking fund for school lunches, field trips whenever they're able to go to field trips again, or just to help donate to causes that they may have. So if you are someone that is like me and it's like the school is always sending you some type of announcement asking if you would like to donate, or they have something going on, then consider setting up a sinking fund to help cover those costs. Fifth sinking fund to set up is one for vacations, because the pandemic it's not going to last forever. So you want to take into consideration how you're actually getting to the specific destination, whether it is by plane, train, a car, whatever, as well as any hotel or Airbnb costs, what you are going to be doing, your itinerary, all of that. So get that together, be proactive, plan for your future vacation by setting up a sinking fund now so that later on you can just plan your trip out and go. Sixth sinking fund you should consider setting up is one for future supplies and electronics. So if you have like a future class coming up, then you can set aside money for textbooks, a new laptop, or anything that you are going to need for that class. And the seventh sinking fund you should consider setting up is one for your pets. I did not know how many people, how many budgeters include a line for their pets, I guess because I don't have a pet. But this is something that is really beneficial to them, and they say that has helped them because pets are expensive, and I did not realize how expensive pets are. So you can set aside a sinking fund for maybe unexpected health care or expected health care. There's any type of supplies that they are going to need, like food, water, cat toys, cat towers, things like that. I keep saying cat because I really want a cat. But that is a really beneficial and helpful sinking fund to set up. And the eighth sinking fund is one for holidays. Holidays always seem to catch us off track for some reason, but they come the same time every single year. So if you are someone that is always last minute when it comes to holidays, get started now. Set up your sinking funds now for like Christmas gifts, Thanksgiving dinner, things like that. Anything that you always fall short on and you're always rushing to accumulate money for and you always swipe your credit card for. And if you set up your sinking funds for holidays now, it's not going to require you to set back so much money. Whereas if you wait until it's like 2 months before Christmas, you're going to have to set up large chunks of money. But if you space it out, then it's not going to require such a large amount that you have to put back every single time. Ninth sinking fund you should consider setting up is for healthcare visits to help cover the out-of-pocket costs, especially if you have a high deductible. This can be for trips to the specialist. This can be for the pharmacy costs. This could be for vision and dental as well. Just whatever it is that you may need, you want to be proactive and have funds set aside so you are not having to go without your medication or without new contacts or things like that because you don't have the funds to cover it. And the 10th sinking fund that you should consider setting up is one for fees and or taxes, like property taxes. Those seem to catch a lot of people off guard, but you can also set aside funds for, tags and registration, a new driver's license, things like that. All right, so that wraps up this video about sinking funds, and hopefully this gave you some good ideas about what type of sinking funds you want to set up this year. And for those with sinking funds, if you have one that I did not mention, leave them down in the comments below for those who are maybe looking for more ideas. But in the meantime, I will catch you all in the next video.